There are two groups of people who have been circling the exact same truth for centuries without ever shaking hands. So the first group runs experiments, publishes papers, measures fields, maps the neural pathways, and then demands everything is provable before it gets labeled real. But the second group lights candles, studies ancient texts, works with invisible forces, and they have been documenting results that the first group refuses to look at because their methodology doesn't fit their framework. And both groups think that the other one is missing something fundamental. And ironically, both groups are right. But both groups have been describing the same river in different languages for so long that neither one of them even remember that the river was never separate to begin with. So the human body is not a collection of bones and organs moving through a neutral environment. It is a field generating biological system that is in continuous electromagnetic conversation with everything around it. The heart field generates an electromagnetic field that is measurable 8 to 10 feet in every direction around the body. The brain also generates an electrical field that is measurable in frequencies that change with response, thought, intention. And then we have the nervous system, which is transmitting information at speeds of up to 120 meters per second through every tissue in the body simultaneously. Then we have the gut, the first brain that's labeled the second, but it contains 100 million neurons that are sending signals to the brain before the conscious mind has finished processing what just happened. So before we ever even get to consciousness, before we ever get to intention, belief, or practice of any kind, we are already dealing with a living system that is broadcasting a signal, that is receiving signals, and is exchanging signals simultaneously with everything around it. None of that is a spiritual position. That is a biological fact. Now, what the magician has always known is a ritual is not superstition, and at its core, a ritual is a method of directing attention, organizing emotion, focusing intention, and aligning the entire biological system towards a specific outcome. So when they light a candle, that is not for decoration, and the correspondence is not folklore. The intention is not some wishful thinking either. Every element of a serious magical practice has a function. And that function, when you run it through a neuroscience lens, is precise, it's explainable, and it is reproducible. So if we look at the flicker of a flame, for example, that falls within the alpha brainwaves range, and it produces a measurable entrainment effect in the brain's electrical activity. Every magician throughout history has been using that as a tool for focus for thousands of years. And the neuroscientists just got the equipment to see why it works. The name of the tool is different, the tool is the exact same. Now, when a human being locks onto a clear intention and builds genuine coherence within the body, which is required, and when the heart field is organized, the nervous system is regulated, the attention is directed properly, and the whole instrument, the body, is moving in one direction, yeah, the results will look extraordinarily from the outside. But it's not because they're extraordinary in some you broke natural law sense. They're extraordinary because deliberate participation in natural law is genuinely rare. Most people, are running on habit, reaction, and patterns that was installed within them without their permission, so they've never even been examined. It's like the instrument is on, but nobody's holding the controls. So when a person learns to pick up the controls and actually operate the system deliberately, the difference in outcome is not like magic is a fantasy, it's physics with raw intention behind it. The magician calls that alignment. The scientist calls that coherence. Hell, the athlete calls that flow, and the meditator calls it presence. It is the same principle, the same biological event, and the same electromagnetic reality. Different traditions built different maps of the exact same territory, and then they spent centuries arguing over whose map is more accurate, instead of walking the territory together. So that argument is over as far as we are concerned. So what we have built is a 7-day protocol and experience that takes both groups into the work simultaneously in their own language, through their own framework, with the science and the magical practice happening side by side, so that neither side has to abandon what they know to access what the other also knows. So for the scientist who has never lit a candle with intention in their life, you're going to light one on day 5. But before you do, you're going to understand exactly what the candle flame does to the brain's electrical activity, and why every civilization in human history used the open flame in the most significant practices, and what the neuroscientists of focused ritual attention actually produces in the body. So they are going to light the candle as a scientist, running a precise neurological protocol. And then somewhere between the lighting and the sitting and the field that builds within that room, the scientist is going to feel something that their framework does not yet have a complete word for. Now, on the other hand, the magician who has been working the Rosicrucian, the Golden Dawn, or the Hermetic practices or elemental ritual for years, you're going to pick up this thing and find every single thing that you already know. The elements, the correspondences, the ritual architecture, the field mechanics, but it's going to be explained at the biological level with enough precision that the part of you that has always wanted to understand the mechanism underneath the mystery, you're finally going to get to in this protocol. So you're going to get to see that what you have been doing was actually never separate from science at all. It was always science. It was the science of operating the human instrument deliberately inside the field that it continuously generates. So the tradition is already gave you the how, the neuroscience is going to give you the why. And both of you are going to come together in find something that neither one of you could have produced alone. So the 4 elements are in there. This is not mythology. Earth is the solid state of matter, the body's proprioceptive system, the physical structure through which intention takes form. Water, we're going to bring that in. That's the liquid state, the body's electromagnetic conduction medium. 60-70% of you is made up of water, the field through which resonance travels between biological systems. And then we have air, which is the gaseous state, the breath. Now, this is the only autonomic function that the conscious mind can directly access. The signal network of the nervous system broadcasts into the space around you. And then there's fire, which is the plasma state, the mitochondrial combustion that powers every single thought and every heartbeat. And then the transformation principle that changes one state of matter into another. None of this is poetic descriptions. These are states of matter with biological addresses right in your own body. Listen, the ancient world mapped the same 4 states of matter the same way and built a practice around them that produced results for thousands of years before we ever even discovered the periodic table. So the convergence is not coming, it is here. The consciousness researchers and the contemplative practitioners are now sitting in the same room. The neuroscientists studying meditation are getting the same results that the meditators have been reporting for centuries, because none of this is new science. The heart math researchers are measuring the heart's electromagnetic field, and they are confirming exactly what the Hermetic tradition taught about the heart as the seat of the animating intelligence. Now, I want to talk about the rosehip neuron. So it's structure that science has only recently found in human brains, and it appears to be broadcasted outward, not like the other neurons, because it is there to witness, to monitor, and to observe. That is sitting in neuroscience literature right now, right next to the Vedic concept of Sakshi, the eternal witness, as if the two was always going to meet in the same sentence. They were. So the field mechanics protocol is on Note 13 and Archetype 13. They're both going to be available today. This is a 7-day working where you are going to see it and experience it for yourself. I mean, that is what all of the work over here is. Nothing over here is take this and make it a fact. We always go science, we always go anatomy, and then we always go prove it to yourself. Both of them are available, archetype13.com and note13.co. Because again, the convergence is here. This is the build era, humans.